Buddy, Captain Tommy Scoville. We're going to try this again. The the internet is tough right here. We're having some issues. It's because of the storms. Let me try to see if I can't get some of the people back. So let's try this. All right, trying again. Trying again, and we're trying again. Bad storms as opposed to storms. That's great. Justin, good to see you. Charlie Mullins, there he is. People, obviously the internet here is dicey. The storms that are starting to batter this coast. I had this problem doing the telehealth. With the doctor this morning. Obviously, since I'm in Florida, I had to do that meeting telehealth. So it's one of those things that I've been putting up with all morning. The internet connections right now aren't great. So we're going to try this one more time, and hopefully this works out. Okay. When last we spoke, I was telling you about a story. And I don't feel messed up telling you this story because the individual that I'm talking about is long gone, right? I don't want to talk about people that are here that you people know, but this individual is long gone. When I first started the program, and it was the Tommy Scoville show, there was somebody that came on and they were really having a bad time. And it was heartbreaking. They opened up a little to some of the people in the comments section. It was not... I wasn't doing live feeds at the time. It was just the comment section. And this individual was, they were living in the bed of a truck. And they had lost everything. It was a guy that had gotten really strung out on crack. And, you know, over the course of 3 or 4 videos, there were a lot of comments that were left about, you know, he was getting inspiration from what I was talking about, and that, I gave him hope. And, you know, especially as a brand new show, this was something that, boy, I was pumped up about, you know. I really wanted to help this person. And as it turned out, they were on the East Coast, and they were in a place that was very close to where I used to live. And it gave me an opportunity to reach out to some people who I knew in that part of the country. And I told them the story. You know, here's a guy that was really strung out on crack, and now he's living in the back of a truck, and, you know, it's getting on that time of year. And my friend said, you know, is he able-bodied? And over the course of some conversations back and forth, you know, it was pretty obvious that, you know, this individual was healthy, if nothing else. So my friend said, send them over. I'll hire him today. So I went and did the legwork, and I said, hey, guess what? I got you a job. You know, this is a chance for you to get on your feet right now. I got a guy that you can go. And he said, boy, I'd love to. Getting there is going to be a problem. I said, my friend had already said he will come and pick you up. He's ready to take you to work. You can get on your feet. This goes over the course of a couple of days. We're trying to get this set up. And he said, you know, the problem is right now I don't have a driver's license. I don't have any identification. And this guy had a lot that he had to overcome. I told my friend, and my friend said, look, for the first 2 months, I'll pay him in cash. No need for... Now, granted, you know, it's not ideal. You should be paying taxes and be on the books and all that. But he said, I'll pay him under the table for the first couple of months until he gets on his feet. So I reached back out to this individual. I said, gotcha. This guy will pick you up. He will pay you in cash. Blah, blah, blah. Not to take my friend up on the prospect of doing that kind of work, because he didn't want to work. As it turns out, not only did he not want to work, but this guy wasn't living in the back of a truck. We did some research. We tracked this guy down. He had an apartment, and he also had a very, very bad reputation on the internet for doing exactly what he was trying to do to the Tommy Scoville show. So he was actually the first person that I ever blocked on the channel. And I came out at the time and I told everybody, hey kid, I told everybody that this was something that we had to be afraid of. This was something that could rear its head. It happened later on down the road. I warned people again, and it's happening again now. So I just want everybody to realize that things are not always how they seem. And my best advice is this: if somebody asks you for anything, be very, very quick to offer up prayers and positive thoughts. That is the greatest gift that you can give without fear. Support is a great thing, right? Support one another across the board. Pray for them, tell them you're here for them, exchange contact information, do everything you can to lend a hand. When that hand becomes currency, I want you to be really, really circumspect. And one of the fastest ways to do it, if you don't want to do the research, is reach out to me, right? Or reach out to Mark, and we will absolutely tell you, whether or not this is something that can work out. I have to call you back, kid. All right, I'm right in the middle of the live feed. I love you. That is Cedar Scoville, who just called in on some FaceTime. But so you understand what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but there are scammers all over the place, and they do target groups. Yeah, Truth 760 said scammers and catfishers target groups like the Lifeboat. Boy, do they. Joe Birdwell, good to see you, my brother. Everybody, you know what? I love it when Joe gets on here. I think we're on day 70, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty proud of that. That's good stuff. So it is a very frustrating thing to have to come on here and say this, people. And I'm not going to say it again. This is for those that don't get on tonight's live feed. I'm going to post this over on the Facebook page as well. But I really would like to, as much as possible, avoid this kind of conversation. This is the last thing in the world that I want to do as the host of this channel. But Truth said it beautifully. There are people for whom the Lifeboat is always going to be targets. Truth also said, I find it easier to test people by offering information on local resources that are set up to help them. Some know, some don't know. The people trying to take advantage will refuse. That's a really great piece of advice. Honestly, it is. If you offer somebody, a leg up instead of some cash, it does usually give you a pretty good idea of, of what's going on. I used to go to a pain specialist, and this was back before I was really, really off into the tall weeds with drugs. And I really was at the time fighting pain. It sort of started that way. And there was a list of things they wanted to try in pain management. Trigger point injections, which for me was literally like 60 injections, 30 on either side of your spine once a week, acupuncture, all of these different things. And the doctor used to say regularly that, anytime somebody came in, because I always said, I'll try anything. I'll try the TEMS machine, I'll try the trigger point injections. And she said one of the ways that she weeded out the people, not that she was faking that people needed this, but she said one of the fastest ways to weed it out was when you lay out all of the different ways to treat something that don't have an opiate involved. She said people tend to run, and that they're just fishing for stuff to get high on, But yeah, this is the last we're going to talk about that, people. I hope that the message got across, and I hope that what got across as much as anything else is that this sucks. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to have to do this. It's depressing. It really is. It's like the lowest point of humanity is coming and sticking its middle finger in my face on a regular basis, because taking advantage of people on the Lifeboat. Let's be really honest. The lifestyles that most of us led didn't leave us with 16-digit bank accounts, right? The lifestyles that we led tend to leave us financially challenged, right? So while we may not have a ton of money, we have a ton of heart, and that's a bad combination. When your heart is this big and your wallet is that big, that is a bad combination, and it is what it is. I would like to welcome anybody onto the Lifeboat that has not been here before. I really think there's a lot of people who I haven't seen recently, a lot of names that I haven't seen before. If you are new to the lifeboat, please do me a favor. Reach out to myself or to Mark Wages, my partner. Send us an email. That email doesn't have to be, huge. It basically just has to tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're at in your travels, so to speak, on the road to sobriety. Let us know what's going on. It helps out us and it helps out you. It's good for us to have a handle on where you're at on the road to sobriety. If the comments that people leave, we will respond to differently if you're 4 days sober or if you're 7 years sober, right? If you're 4 days sober and you say, boy, I'm really losing it, it's a little different than 7 years who says I'm really losing it. At 7 years, you probably have a pretty good armor put into place. You've got some coping skills developed. You've got some things in place that are going to help you during that tough time. If you're 4 days sober, you need me to get a hold of you, right? You need somebody to step up and say, hey, you're going to get through this, right? And that's honestly, people, the best support you can do here on the lifeboat is to reach out to somebody and tell them that you care. Really, tell them that you care. And this time of year, more than any other time of year, it means amazing amounts. I was reading, it's on somebody else's channel, and there was a testimonial that this is, for me and my family, this is our first Christmas without my dad. And somebody on another channel was living with the exact same thing. It was a woman who was living with the first Christmas without her husband. And she said a couple of neighbors came by and just said, hey, you know what? Just thought I would drop in, see how you're doing, and wish you a happy holidays, and tell you that if you find yourself wanting to say hi, or if you have a little time to kill, please stop by, be willing to come and say hello. And it's just a beautiful thing. It's one of those things that leaves people feeling like somebody out there cares. You understand? And the more that you can reach out and let someone know you care during this time of year, it doesn't just help the person. You understand that? There's a reason we all try to give back, and one of the reasons is it's good for you. It's good for your mental state of mind. The more that you connect and the more that you try to help, the better off you're going to be. That's really it's kind of the backbone of everything that we do here. And again, it gets back to last night's live feed. The difference between, the opposite of sobriety, the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. One of the reasons that the lifeboat is growing, and one of the reasons that, at 4 months there's a couple of thousand people here, is because the more connections that you make, the better you feel. And there's a lot of that going on in a very healthy way here on the lifeboat. My first Christmas without my son. Oh my goodness. He was killed in a fire in Upper Michigan 2 days after his 28th birthday. As a mom, I watched his burnt body die on life support. It was horrible. I wish I knew exactly how to say your name. I'm just going to go with Dark to Light. Dark to Light, that is one of the saddest things I've ever heard. It takes a lot of courage, honestly, to share that. And I'm glad that you did. I'm really glad that you did. There are a lot of people here that probably needed to hear that for a lot of reasons. Number one, perspective, because when you talk about this being a tough time of year, it doesn't sound like it's such a tough time of year for some of us anymore. Because when compared to that kind of grief, the stuff we're dealing with is hee-haw, honestly. And I hope everybody heard, and read that comment. If there's anything that any of us can do, please, thank you. And thank you so much for opening up. It means the world to us that you feel comfortable enough here on the lifeboat to share something like that. I truthfully can't imagine it. I can't imagine it. I don't have the capacity. But you're in my thoughts and prayers, and not just for you, but for your family. And I hope that that this holiday season brings you some solace and some joy. You know, it's we talk about dialectic behavioral training once in a while on the lifeboat, and when an event like that happens, you don't get over it. You know, you don't get over something like that ever. You learn to live with it. And that's what dialectic behavioral training is. It's the ampersand. It's the word and. Right? The most difficult and horrific thing that could possibly happen to a mother happened, and you're going to continue on and be a positive person. And you know, I've read the messages that you've been leaving up to this point, and as positive, you know, a person as you are, it says so much about the depth of character that you can be here and be positive and be putting messages out there that are, you know, touching other people and helping other people in spite of, you know, that kind of loss. And honestly, it's a testament to the kind of person you are. And I for one feel blessed that you're here, that you're on the lifeboat. And I know that I'm not alone in saying that. But my thoughts and prayers with you and your family. She says, I'm 54 years young, one child left, a daughter. Support system is actually a prayer group we formed last year. They help a bit. You know something? Prayer groups, light to dark, we are not a religious channel. So I'm not chastising you, by the way. We're not a religious channel, so I don't advocate any particular religion. That's what I mean by this is not a religious channel. I am of the firm belief that prayer works. I am of the firm belief that there is a peace that you find in religion and in prayer that most people don't find any other way. If you do find it another way, fantastic. I'm glad for you. For me, I very much find that peace through faith, and I am a firm believer in prayer groups. I'm a firm believer in prayer chains, all of that. Very often here on the boat, you will hear us say, we would like to send out positive thoughts and prayers to whoever happens to be the recipient. Like right now, for instance, you know, thoughts and prayers, please, from dark to light, because I think that this is definitely going to be a holiday that she could use them. And 54 is young. Let's get that straight. It's very young. Oculi Mortis. You know what, Oc? I have not asked in a long time about your shoulder. You know, I'm hoping that you're healing well. I have not. Truth 760 says sharing and relating is important. It is cathartic. You know what, Truth? Not only is that, you know, a fairly popular sentiment among people here on the boat, it's a stone cold fact. If you go back, I don't know how many, I can't remember how many live feeds it was. I don't think I was here, so it's got to be pretty close to a week ago. But we did a live feed and talked about, very specifically about sharing and exactly what it does. There was a study done by a doctor that actually has some empirical stuff. There's some research that has been done. And when you let out, as opposed to bottle up, it does amazing things in the body. It makes people healthier physically, not just mentally. And if you go back and watch that video, I don't remember the name of it, people, but it will be pretty obvious when you read it, because it says something about sharing is it good for you, or the good of sharing with you, or something. It had the word sharing in it. I'm pretty confident it had the word sharing in it. And yeah, it's not just, Truth is 100% right on this. It's not only a good thing for you mentally, it's a good thing for you physically. People, we were never meant to internalize. We were never meant as human beings to take things and bottle them up and hold them inside. It's any illustration you want to use, a pressure cooker, you know, a bottle, shake it up, right, with all of that stuff in there. And eventually that pressure builds and that pressure builds, and it's going to explode. And when that happens with the human spirit, nothing good happens. It really doesn't. And for those of us in recovery, there's nothing more important than letting all of that out. Because that is absolutely, when that thing pops, that's when most people relapse. Oculi Mortis says, it's doing good. I returned to work on Wednesday after being off for 5 months with surgery and physical therapy. So you're, how's the pain level, OM? I'm hoping that I mean, you're the kind of guy that probably would go back and tough it. So I mean, you're back at work. That's good, but the pain okay? Let's see. Do 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 do. Yeah, Miss V, we are all praying that as well. That that gentleman stays right where he's supposed to be. Dark to light. Yep, that's another one. See, perfect example. We can keep Miss V in our thoughts and prayers. Yep. Miss Honeybee. Oh my goodness, she said my ex knocked my teeth out. You know, people, I am astounded when I hear about just how prevalent, violence in, domestic violence is. It's one of those things that you just, I don't know, I guess it's something that I'm just shocked every time. Maybe it's how I was raised, you know what I mean? My father literally would have killed us. We would have been taken off of the planet if we had, I had a sister. And if you put, Johnny and I could roll around on the ground and sort of beat on each other. And it was something that happened, quite a bit growing up until we were big enough where that kind of stuff really could do damage. But, Johnny and I were always at each other's throats. But boy, if you raised a hand to my sisters, either one of them, my dad would have killed you. It was just one of those things. And I raised my son the same way. I don't understand the mechanism that causes that to happen. But I'm so glad that you're able to share, that here. Justin Roberts says, oh, my anger is not directed at others usually. If so, it's vocal mainly. I used to get beat on a wall or tree something. My hands hate it, but oh well. You know what? Charlie Mullins says, there is no, with a capital N-O, excuse for hitting a woman. You're damn right there's not. I'm sorry, there isn't. And, we've had some people in the past say, what if one hits you? I had a girl that I was engaged to who punched me in the face. I think I told the story a few times before. Who almost knocked me smooth out. It was one of the absolute greatest punches that anyone has ever thrown. And I didn't know it was coming. I was drying dishes and setting them up on the table. And she was intoxicated from a party that we had right around the Christmas, New Year's time. And she got me on the chin. It was one of those like you see in boxing matches. And I fell and hit the refrigerator. If the refrigerator wasn't there, she would have knocked me out. I would have gone down to the ground. I would have been smooth unconscious. But I caught the refrigerator and I stood up and I remember reaching to get the keys. And she went like I was going to hit her. I said, what the hell are you doing that for? You hit me. I got the keys. I put them in the car and I drove away. That was it. Bye. I don't do violence. I don't. You know what I mean? Once violence starts in a relationship, I don't think there's any going back from that. I really believe that that's one of those things that it just has to, you can't allow that to happen. Let's see what we got here. Okay, people, sorry, I was just checking to make sure that that was not my daughter. I do get, I get a lot of, my daughter chimes in and I always said that, it's the one thing that I will always take a call for is family. I just want to make sure that there's never anything happening that's going on. But Greta the One says, my 24-year-old daughter is coexisting with a violent domestic abuser. They have 2 young children. I'm old school too. This is almost too much for me to take. And you have, you've talked to her about this and reached out to her. That's awful. It really is. That's awful. There are, maybe I'm ignorant, people. I'm willing to chalk that up because this is not by any stretch my area of expertise, and it's not something that, thank the Lord, has touched me a whole lot in my life. You know what I mean? I have 2 sisters, and they're married to guys that, we're not best friends, but they treat my sisters fantastic. You know what I mean? There's no, there's never been an iota of that kind of stuff that's raised its head. I think I've just been really blessed in that area. But is it something that people heal from? Can you fix somebody that hits women? Is that even possible? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure that it is. I think that that's one of those behaviors that once it starts, I'm going to pray for your daughter because that's an awful situation. My heart goes out to you. It's got to be very difficult as a parent to just sit and know that that's there. Really, Greta, I'm sorry about that. That's awful. Oculi Mortis says, I have a funny story I'll tell. I think it's funny. Oculi, you make me laugh quite often, so I'm not surprised. Sorry. Yeah, people. If this is, again, this is not my area of expertise, and I won't pretend that it is. I am really very much sort of a guy that centers. The channel is obviously very much about living your best life, but it pertains to rehabilitation. That's really what it pertains to. But it's also really, because we're dealing with people who most oftentimes struggle with alcohol or drugs. But it's about living your best life, right? That's really what we're trying to get across. So if there's somebody hitting you, right? If you're getting beat up in a relationship right now in your life, that's not okay. The person that's doing it, it's not okay. Please reach out to somebody, right? Call the police, call a family member, call somebody. It is not okay to live in a relationship where somebody communicates with violence. And I don't care if it's a wife hitting a husband or a husband hitting a wife or a mother or father beating kids. Violence isn't okay. And it's not going to be something that when they say, oh, I promise it's never going to happen again. No, it's not okay, right? And it's a felony. Please, people, if this is happening to you, reach out, talk to somebody, do something, please. I'm begging of you. This holiday season, don't give the gift of freedom. If you're living in a relationship with someone who's beating on you, please reach out to somebody. I'm sorry, people. I know that it's not what we do here, but for the love of God, that hurts. The abuser has police and even a judge who overheard the separation case 2 years ago. She went back, wrapped around his finger. I'm moving closer to them next week. Prayers, yes. Yeah, I will keep doing my prayers. That is awful. Really awful. It hurts. You can't call for help if they won't let you, and you can't scream if they're choking you. Miss Honeybee, I'm referring to when the situation ends. If somebody's got their hands around your throat, I'm sure that you cannot call for help. I mean, when you get away from that person, right, when the beating ends, don't go back, right? Reach out for help. I mean, in the broader sense of the word, I don't mean during the incident. If you can call 911 during the incident, that would be great. But I mean, extricate yourself from the situation is the kind of help I'm referring to. The reason I bring it up in here is not only for support, but it was hard alcohol that started him doing that. Miss V, there's nothing wrong with bringing up anything in here because it's something you're struggling with. What I mean is I'm just not well versed in it. We can discuss anything that threatens a person's sobriety. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that it's off limits. I'm just saying I wish I was more intelligent about it, but it's not something that I know a great deal about is all I was saying. There's nothing that I'm saying is off the table, right? We don't talk about politics. That's what we don't talk about. If somebody is in a domestic abuse situation, of course that's something we can talk about. Oh, you're in British Columbia. She said the system in BC is designed to see an end to the family unit. Woke socialist here. My daughter needs to know how this is affecting her and her children. I've talked and done until I'm blue. I'm so sorry, Greta. I am really, really sorry. A Marine buddy of mine was playing spades with his buddies, and he told his wife to bear me, wench. So she got the bear and hit him over the head with it. Got a nice scar on his forehead. That is funny, Oculi. Actually, that's really funny. Well, seems that Charlie, gratitude, Captain T. Oh, thank you, Miss Honeybee. Yeah, I didn't want to miscommunicate that. Other than politics, people, there's really nothing that's off the table. I just wish I knew more about it. Jerry Hayes. Jerry, do me a favor. Reach out to me, Jerry. Badger Life says wasp spray stops them. I like that. It's good stuff. Badger, I love that. Yeah, Jerry, if you haven't reached out, please, anyone who's brand new, if you haven't had a chance to send me an email and tell me a little bit about where you're at in life, please do so. It helps the situation. It makes everything easier. I promise. It will be one of those things that you'll be happy that you did because it sort of gives me some traction, lets me know exactly where you're at. And when I respond, you'll see a little bit of what it's, sort of the give and take. Honestly, I think you'll be happy that you did. If you're brand new to the lifeboat, please reach out and send me an email. I would really appreciate that. Thanks, Jerry. Raven says, been there. Got tackled many times in gravel. I ran down the road just to assure to a payphone and I finally got away. I'll tell you something. Raven is a very, very strong person. And speaking of which, Raven, I hope you're feeling better. I hope are you back to 100% yet, Raven, or how are we doing? You've been in my thoughts and prayers now for a minute. Absolutely. Justin Lucinda says, well, business has picked up here at work. I love you all, and I will see everyone in the morning. Have a beautiful day, Captain and crew. Thank you. I'm glad your business has picked up. It's cool that we're, doing the lives in the morning now. I get an opportunity to see you more often, and I love that. Love that. Really a very, very dedicated crew member from way back in the before this was the lifeboat. Been here forever. Miss V says, Trish, people like that need to all be locked up together and see what happens. Yeah, I agree with you. Or we could just cut out the whole see what happens thing and just lock them all in the same place and burn it to the ground. Probably not politically correct, but I think that works too. Truth says, to me, the lifeboat is for everyone to try and seek to live their best life, whether you are a user, addict, victim of users, addicts, depressed, etc. The goal is to live our best life. I agree with you, Truth, and maybe I didn't articulate that as well as you just did. I think really what I was trying to say, and I didn't do a very good job of, is that I spent about 7 or 8 years doing nothing but reading about drug addiction and what it does in the brain and how people fight it, the different methods of recovery, and how all of those sort of interplay happens as it pertains to drug addiction, alcoholism. So when subject matters come up like domestic violence, I'm always really relying more on the people in the comments section who have been there and done that, because like we know Fiona is a survivor, we know Raven is a survivor. It's honestly so many people in the crew have survived domestic violence that very often I sort of defer to them because and that's on a lot of things. That's not just domestic violence. Let's be honest. Very oftentimes, even if it's drugs and alcohol we're talking about, some of the greatest lessons on this channel are going to come from you all. They're not coming from me. I'm just I'm the master of ceremonies, right? I'm like the ringleader. I come out in the tall hat, but the show is really what takes place around me. It's got a lot less to do with me and Mark. Jerry Hayes says, well said, Truth. I agree. And Oculi Mortis says, hear, hear. Stacy Michael says, yes, Truth. Boy, I'll tell you what, Truth, I don't think anybody disagreed with that. You did a great job of articulating what the lifeboat should be. I think I'm even going to take a screenshot of that. What do you think of that? I'm going to keep that because that is about as well said as, and let's be honest, pretty much on a daily basis, the ability to try to articulate exactly what we do here comes up. Truth says, you did fine for me. I understand what you said. We can't understand what others have gone through that we haven't experienced, but we're all trying to help each other. And again, beautifully said. That really is, and I think it's the beauty of the lifeboat. In fact, that might even be a better comment than the first one, because what makes sharing work the way that it does is because everybody here has been in the same boat. So if you're sharing something and it's not a boat that I've been in, the fact that everybody here is willing to jump instantly and say, I know what you're going through, right? I know how you feel. I've been there. I felt this way. So I guess what I've done and what Mark is doing as well is to bring together a group of people whose life experiences cover pretty much everything, and they're all ready, willing, and able to help anybody that comes into the group, right? They're all ready to, because of their life experiences and because of the things they've been through with sympathy and empathy and caring and all of that. It doesn't matter what you bring to the party. If it's not directly related to something that I've studied, I promise you that the people in the lifeboat will have plenty of help. And that's it right there. That's it in a nutshell. Miss Honeybee says, it is a quantum experience to feel someone else's emotion from a different time and place. You're probably considerably smarter than I am, Miss Honeybee, but I think that makes sense. Miss V says, yes, this crew is incredible. And I must agree. I really must agree. And Greta, the other one, says to Miss Honeybee, amen. So she absolutely understands. Good. I think I understand what you meant by the quantum, but I'm telling you, my book smarts part of me waved bye-bye a long time ago. I'm just now really getting back to the point where I can get all of this put together. The whole education thing is really just starting to get back to where a lot of that is making sense. So that's a good thing. Because I am starting school on the 10th of next month, people. I go back and get a little bit more education so that I'm able to help out more, from a captain of this boat, the head of this channel kind of a thing. And I think that'll be of a benefit to all. Well, people, that's all I have is my intelligence and knowledge. That's all right. Those are two really important things, Miss Honeybee. And there are also two things that no one can take from you. Miss V. Oh, that is the day of his trial, is it? Miss Honeybee says, every other part of me is broken. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Honeybee. I really am. I really, really am. Jerry Hayes, well done. I also went to college in my 40s. That was when, I had started way back when and taken courses and all that, but I didn't finish it until I was in my 40s. You're never too old to learn. You really aren't. All right, Miss V. Well, then I'm glad that I know that, because the closer I get, the more I'm going to have an entire army of people being very specific in their prayers as to what is going to happen on that day. Truth says, Miss Honeybee, you are very empathetic. Well, see, that's another skill there, isn't it? And one of the most beautiful skills. The ability to, empathy is something that so few people truthfully have, in the kind of amounts that the world, if everybody had it in the kind of level that the people here on the boat do, the world would be a much better place. That is the truth. Oculi Mortis has put up a 21 wrench and a 21 wrench salute. Well played, well played. Charlie Mullins, great job today, Charlie. Really, great job today, as always. People, if you don't love Charlie Mullins, there's something wrong with you. Charlie, you're one of the greats, man. In every single way, shape, and form, you are just one of the greats. Dark to Light says, I went to college in my 40s too. Ended up being the tutor and note taker. It was a good experience. You know what? I think anytime you get back and start doing that, my grandfather got his GED in his 70s. He fought in World War II. It was a different world when he grew up. How cool is it that he went back and did that in his 70s, though, man? That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. If I'm not mistaken, somebody's about to tell me what kind of plane that is. Oh, look at that. Cessna 172 Skyhawk SP. The Cessna 172 was the first airplane I ever jumped out of when I went skydiving. It's got a fixed wing above it. The landing gear doesn't go up and down. You got to climb out onto the wing. Under the wing. It's really quite an experience. Greta said, I started at university 36 years old, got a BA and an MA. Adults can be excellent students. Go, Captain Tommy. Thanks, Greta. That's awesome. You mean jump out of an airplane, Miss V? See, once again, it's all about perspective. If that airplane was going down and you had a parachute, you could jump out of it, right? So what you mean is you don't want to jump out of an airplane. I promise you could. Badger says, I owned one years ago. Yeah, they're cool little planes. They kind of reminds me, like if a Volkswagen Beetle could fly, I think it would be a Cessna 172. That's kind of my opinion on that. Well, people. People, we have come to that time of the day where, so do me a favor, go to the comment section, leave a comment, tell us how you feel about the live feeds going twice a day instead of once a day. Wow, Tommy, that is great. I assume you think you're talking about me jumping out of a plane. I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah, it was fun. I need to enjoy some of that beach life in Florida. I went on the longest walk you've ever seen on that beach. I think I probably got it all out of my system in one walk. So people, why jump out of a perfectly good working airplane? It's the same reason you climb Everest, right? You get to the top of there, you're not going to start a business or anything. You just want the experience of it, say that you did that, So people, please leave me a message go into the messages when this live feed is over. Pop in immediately. Just leave a message on the live feed. Yeah, we'd like you to do 2 live feeds a day instead of 1. Tell us how you like the morning live feed. I know how you like it. Make no mistake, I know how you like it. However, my partner's not on these live feeds with us in the morning, right? So when he and I sit down and we talk about what we're doing with this channel, and I say, trust me, everybody on the live feed kind of wants us to do this. It's a whole lot easier if I say, go read the comments from this morning's live feed. You follow me? It really is, it gives me some evidence to take to Mark, because we're going to discuss this, and Mark is down for whatever is good, but he's going to say, that's a lot of work. And he's looking out for me. The truth is, people, these are easier than it is to edit. Sort of the interplay going back and forth between me and you guys. It's from creating content, it is a much easier thing for me to do this than it is to keep coming up with other things. But so please, when this is over, go and leave a comment. Trish Killian, yes, please send me that email. Please do that. Please, please, please. So I'm going to wrap this up tonight at 6 o'clock on the West Coast. Which coast is that, Oculi? Yeah, that coast. Pacific time zone, 6 o'clock. We will be going live again. It's going to be my last live feed from Florida. Then I will be heading back tomorrow. But that is Best Coast. So that is going to be tonight at 6 o'clock, West Coast time. We will be going live. Between now and then, we would be very happy if you reached out and tried to save somebody. Right? That would really be a good thing. Miss Honeybee says, Best Coast. Reach out and try to save somebody. It's what we do. And one other assignment, pop into the comments as soon as I turn this thing off. Tell us how you think the live feeds in the morning and the live feeds at night. If you like what we're doing, you get it? All right. I am Captain Tommy Scoville. This was The Lifeboat.